Anyway, chat, if you don't know, that means you're European. But it's election day here in America, which is a day full of anxiety, stress, confusion, lies, propaganda, and under it all, information. Information on who is going to be the next president of these United States. Now, obviously, we have two candidates here, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. And early on, Donald Trump is crushing. By actually a lot. What the fuck? Wait, what? He's crushing. Wait, is it already Jover? Is it Jover? Now, I actually, you guys might not know this. I run some analyses, and I ran some analyses of who's going to win the elections. Heads was Trump, tails was Kamala. And after flipping it 10 times, it was leaning 60-40 Donald Trump. So right now, the red wave might be real. I am a professional journalist. I ran some analyses. All right, chat. Let's see. Let's see. We are now tracking the votes for right-wing commentator MAGA males chat here. Okay, I need to know, did most of you guys not vote because you're lazy, or are most of you guys not American? Or is this a chat full of 15-year-olds? No! What the hell? No, don't say it. Don't say it. I'm not answering. Okay, who gives a shit? I don't care if you don't answer. First off, it's an anonymous poll, so it doesn't matter if you answer or don't answer. Just don't answer in the future. You don't have to not answer and then be like, I'm not answering. Like, okay, cool. Just don't do it. You don't have to like fucking be loud about not doing it. All right, 15,000 people reporting from Ludwig's chat. We have 40% Kamala Harris voters, 70% Donald Trump voters, and 43% didn't vote or not American. Seems like Kamala's leading by at least 2-1. Where's the biggest liberal commune? California by amount of votes for the candidate, but by percentage, I actually don't think it's California, right? Washington, that makes sense. Oh, DC? I forget DC gets a say. Low-key, I don't think DC should get a say. Does this make me controversial? You're not a fucking state. What have you done? It's a bunch of bureaucrats. They get an electoral vote? Really? Get them out of there. And if you're going to give it to DC, give one to Puerto Rico. You know what I mean? It's like, it's either just states or everyone gets to play. I'm just saying. We're allowing districts? Okay. All right. Interesting. Get Guam in there. Get Puerto Rico in there. Get DC in there. And they get their own non-state vote. Now, you're going to see a lot of things online, chat, by extremists who are saying if Donald Trump wins, it's the end of democracy. He's going to end the electoral system, and he will be forever the dictator of America. You're going to see a lot of people, I've seen this a lot recently, saying if Kamala Harris wins, I think Elon Musk spouted this on the Joe Rogan podcast. If Kamala Harris wins, democracy is over because she's going to legalize every illegal immigrant, and they're all going to vote blue, and it will forever be a blue wave that will never be defeated. I think both takes are dog shit brain dead. The country will continue to exist for the next 4 years regardless of who wins. The biggest long-term damage of either person becoming the president is who they choose as a justice. I think it's also kind of a situation where there are a couple of justices that are poised to be replaced. There will be an election in 2028 regardless. Okay? Can I say that? Is this controversial? There's going to be an election in 2028 regardless of who wins here. I don't know if I'm controversial here. I think that's the truth. I don't think Trump will be a forever dictator. All right? Who's going to fucking put Barron in his stead? And to be honest, there's no way Trump runs again in 2028. Why? He will not be able to walk. I'm going to call a spade here. I see how the man is built. His body is not made for 85. It's not made for it. It's just not made for it. Frankly, it's not. He's built like Gru, but he doesn't have the flexibility Gru has, or the youth. He will also have served 2 terms. Now, I know that. But there was a point in Donald Trump's campaign where he said this will be the last election. What is better, ice cream or pizza? Oh. This is like how civic teachers for 3rd graders teach the presidential election. The answer is unequivocally pizza. Because, wow, fuck, actually. I think the answer is pizza. Because I think ice cream alternatives will still exist in the universe without it. But pizza alternatives don't come close. I.e., gelato or sorbet still exists in the universe where ice cream is removed. But what really comes close to pizza? The answer is nothing. It's pizza or bust. Maybe you could say a flatbread, but I think flatbread is one of the worst inventions ever. Flatbread exists so Panera Bread can make money on like poorly traveled white folk. I'm pretty sure that's why flatbread was created. I don't know if there's some, different etymology to the flatbread, but I think that's its main use nowadays. Calzone? Yeah, but calzones are ass. Calzones are so ass. I'm a certified calzone hater. You're basically taking the thing that makes pizza amazing, the easy eating of it, and then just making it like a fucking shit thing to eat. Who do you want to win? I prefer Kamala Harris win because my worry is in a universe where Donald Trump wins, our Supreme Court is already incredibly politically biased. We're just going to have like an all right-wing leaning court. And basically all of our more permanent laws are going to be in line with a party as opposed to impartial. Like, I think it's bad if all 9 justices are Democratic leaning or all 9 justices are Republican leaning. And right now, the way we pick justices is based off the president and when they happen to retire and or die. Look, I think it's probably the main flaw, and there's a lot of flaws, but the main flaw in American politics is how Supreme Court works. Because Supreme Court is literally the most powerful group of people. Like, if this shit were an anime, this is the secret cult in One Piece that gets to control all the decisions. You know what I mean? They get to choose what cases they want to take. They get to make the decisions they want to make. And sometimes they do it with like like, think about that, bro. It's 9 people. Sometimes the decisions they make is 5-4. And then that's the decision for the rest of the country for basically ever. Because flipping a Supreme Court decision is very hard to do. I actually don't think outside of that, the executive office is that powerful. I don't know if being a president is that powerful of a position. Compared to Congress, I think Congress is much more powerful. It is. I'm not saying it's not powerful at all, but in the checks and balances system, I feel like the judicial branch is quite fucking strong. The legislative branch is quite fucking strong, and the executive branch is the least strong. Look, I know you guys are bringing up executive orders, power of veto, the ability to go to. There's some power still. I'm just saying it's the least powerful of the 3, I think. Thank you, the 50 gifted, Jared. Foreign policy. There are guys. I'm not saying the president sits there and fucking twiddles his thumbs all day. Anecdotally, it feels like Trump has more popularity than ever. Maybe it's just the circles I'm in. I feel like the last 2 elections, people who supported Trump leaned older or leaned quiet. This year, I have seen more people than ever outspokenly supporting Trump, from streamers to fucking Elon Musk to, Joe Rogan. You know what I mean? What kind of circles are you in? X.com, the everything app. No, I mean Aiden. Yeah, even Banks endorsed him. Breaking news. Banks' endorsement of Donald Trump a success. The red wave is crashing. I feel like this election, more than any, I've noticed people think their candidate is going to win handedly. I've seen so many confident Democrats believing Kamala Harris is going to win, and then so many confident Republicans thinking Donald Trump will win. Both people are like pretty resolute. And I almost feel like that just means the echo chambers are functioning at an all-time high. The algorithm is serving what people want to hear, which is that there is nothing to worry about. Don't be anxious. Keep scrolling. Your candidate's going to win. Trust me, it's all okay. Keep scrolling. And I think that's actually bad for Democrats. Isn't it true that the more people vote, the more votes the Democratic Party gets? Like the highest turnout elections usually end out Democratic. So if more people vote, more Democrats win. So if more people are confident that their candidate is going to win, and from that sentiment less people vote, the Republicans are more likely to win. Trump is increasing his lead, 84% chance of victory. He very well might win, but that is not the end of democracy. It's not the end of America. It might be a step back for certain groups. I'm seeing a lot of trans people stressed, anxious. Look, I won't lie to you. That's not a step forward for trans rights, but it's not the end, right? Trans rights are not a 4-year battle. It is a 40-year battle. It's a 400-year battle. Abortion's not a 4-year battle. You know? And here's the thing about history. Over the course of centuries, progressives win. Sometimes they're a bit early to the party, but you wait enough time, they win. Because for the most part, that's what we do as people. We progress. The young people get old. The old people get buried. So that's how it goes. So I see a lot of people with stress. But I think it's undue stress. I mean, it doesn't serve to help you to stress, you know? I ain't going to be alive for centuries. That's true. And to me, I think that's like the fundamental decision that most people make. Like, I feel like if you really break it down, the Republican Party is for the people with the mentality of, I'm not going to live for that long, but while I live, I want it to be good for me right now. And the Democratic Party, I guess it's not even Republican Democratic. It's like conservative progressive. Progressive is like, I want it to be good for future generations. And for, not really. I think that's the promise. I mean, whether it turns out that way or not, I think is a different story. I somehow accidentally clicked the stop streaming button. I don't know how I did it. I clicked the stop streaming button by accident. That's as bad of a fuck up as you can get. I just clicked the wrong button. How are you, professional journalist? 4 years at the Harvard of the Southwest. Is that good enough for you? All I have seen, so this is New York Times chance of victory. I don't know what they use to determine it. All I've seen is this go up as the night goes on. I'm in Philadelphia and I forgot to register. Look, whether your candidate wins or loses, the biggest loser are the people who didn't vote. They are the biggest losers. That is the whole reason. The only reason we exist as a country. Because when we were apart, of Britain's empire, we wanted representation. The whole reason we went to war and became America is because we wanted the right to vote and to represent ourselves. You know how many people died for that shit? A lot of people died for that shit. Not voting is cringe. If you're not American, then ignore me. Ignore me. Ignore me. I'm in the army. I can't vote. Really? I'm sorry. For a second, do you believe the words you're saying? You think everyone who's ever gone to the army is just like, welp, can't vote? Really? Are you dumb or daft? I mean, you're in the army, so we knew the answer to that one. All right. Hey, we know why you're not in the Navy. Come on. Come on. Can I get an amen? Come on. Come on. Like, press 2 right now if you're voting Trump. Press 1 if you're voting Kamala. I imagine the 2s don't normally watch the stream or watch it as often. They might be YouTube Andies. But I was thinking, I was like, why do people vote Trump? And like, maybe some of it's propaganda. Like, me personally, I don't buy illegal immigrants being the source of all our problems. Generally, in most media I consume, blaming stuff on illegal immigrants is like, it's like a back throw shine. You know what I'm talking about? That's like the bread and butter. That's like throwing out a fucking martyrdom grenade in Halo to get a last, you know what I mean? That's a prayer. But I actually think it mostly comes down to a general belief that the Republican Party is better economically, not liking where the country is and it is being run by Democrats. And then also, I think it's true that the Republican Party is better for people who are currently rich. But it's also better for people who have like a belief in themselves that they will become rich. Do you get what I'm saying? And I think a lot more people think they'll be rich than actually will become rich. That makes sense? You're rich? Yeah, you know, you're not wrong. Financially and selfishly, Donald Trump becoming president will make me probably or maybe earn more money. I has in the past. I have earned extra money from tax breaks. I just personally don't care about making more money. I've made enough money where that is not my concern. I'm not at a point in my life where money is a concern. I don't care too much about earning more money. It's not even on some noble shit. I've just earned a lot. I have millions. Millions is great. I don't need more millions. I'm not on some like I'm higher than thou shit. I just don't get more joy out of more money. More money, more problems is real. Why are you dodging this? Dodging what? Everyone should just vote for a croissant? Lud, I tried to vote for you, but they said people under 5 feet were not fit to be president. Lud, why are you dodging this? Eat shit and die. As someone in the Navy, there's a reason he's in the Army and not here. I'm saying, Carson. E6 in the United States Coast Guard. That Army dude has zero clue what he's saying. The military encourages us to vote, even gives us days off. Yeah, I know that. I don't know why the fuck. Hey, look, man, they gotta be a bit new. No matter who wins, Nick is right. I'm not paying taxes. That's right. I don't care if Trump cuts them or Kamala raises them. I'm not paying them. You know what? Look, do you guys want a breaking news announcement? I can tell you why Kamala is losing right now. I can tell you why. Kelby messaged me the same thing today. I didn't bring this up. We were in talks with Kamala's campaign to do some content with Kamala. Now, they initially asked me to do the Bernie Sanders stream. I said no because it sounded kind of cringe. And I was like, the only thing I'm doing, CEOs in a car drinking coffee. I was like, get me into an interview. I did it with the YouTube CEO. I can do it with Kamala. I think they have a giant list of content and stuff that they build up, and they say no to 99%. Because you know who else was on this same list? Connor Eats Pants, Fortnite Friday. So somebody who works at the campaign's job is to basically find a list of podcasts, different creators, news stations, celebrities to team up with to make content with. And they were trying to get me to do some other shit, but all of it was cringe. And I will never accept money from a political campaign because I think that's fucking stupid. I think it's like weird. I don't even know. I don't think it should be legal, honestly. I don't know how it is. They asked Kai for sure. I know as a fact they asked Kai. Kai was not lying. Of course they asked Kai. Are you kidding me? He's one of the biggest creators in the world. But anyway, they said no to me. I don't think I was actually close in the race, but they did say no. But I think Kamala's campaign was kind of ass. It was kind of mid. I don't know if that's this is not a hot take. I think it's a lukewarm take. It was a mid campaign. Because they had so much momentum after it was switched off Biden. And I feel like they did not capitalize on it. I know you're not the biggest politics guy since you're an English major. What's your opinion on men making abortion laws if you have one? Hi from Canada. I don't really care about like my biggest gripe isn't men making it. It is the law itself. You know what I mean? Like my take on it isn't like, oh, I can't believe men made it. My take is like the law itself. Like I think abortion, like there's many instances where it just makes sense. And I think just removing, I think like leaving it to the states and then like 60% of a state saying that abortion should be illegal, the 40% of people in that state no longer having access to like, people losing access to like, yeah, I guess healthcare is a good way to put it. But like, yeah, birth, medical care in those states is bad. It is just making lives harder for many people. Theo Vaughn. Yeah, he did Theo Vaughn. Nelk. Andrew Schultz. Dave Ramsey. Yeah, I think doing all those podcasts lets Trump shine based off his like likability in speech as opposed to his policies or plans. You know what I mean? Because, like, that dude can just fucking shoot the shit. But if all you did was read policies, then a lot of these people might not even be interested in voting or not care. You know what I mean? The McDonald's fry thing was huge. Say what you will. The McDonald's thing was hard. Did they up them to a 90% chance of winning? 91% chance of winning right now. I feel like Kamala's campaign was much more based around like her having more sound policy. And I think like I think her economic policy actually does make more sense. Like I feel like Trump's is like fucking, I don't know, based on what I've heard of from him, it's like, yeah, fuck it, we'll run some tariffs. Tariffs used to be big, man. But I feel like she has no personability. Chat, I'm cheesing. So YouTube, if you don't know, is a very cheesable website to live stream on. So if I create an overlay that says election ends with a timer and then throw it in the corner This is what Fortnite streamers do when Fortnite goes down every season. They throw in a timer, and nobody knows when Fortnite goes back up. When the timer ends, they just restart that shit, and they farm viewership peaks. If you look at a Fortnite streamer's viewership, anytime a new season drops, the entirety of the downtime, which can last like 8 hours or 5 hours or some shit, is like fucking. And then finally the game's out. Because what happens is the closer the timer gets to 0, the more curious people are on what the timer is going to do. So they continue to watch, increasing their view duration, which it promotes the live stream to more people. Nothing gayer than voting for Trump when there was a woman on the ballot. That's real. Fellas, is it gay to vote for a man? Because why are you as a man letting another man tell you what to do? How much is Dogecoin going up right now with Trump's percentage of winning? It's up 20% right now. I think I sell right now. I'm selling. I'm selling all my Doge. I'm selling, bro. I'm done. I'm good. I'm out. This is the first time since I bought it 2 years ago that I am making any return. Bro's manipulating the market. I already sold. I'm out. I don't know if I can manipulate by... I don't have enough, by the way. I have $1,000 in Doge. It's not nothing, but I'm not exactly manipulating the market here. How much did you make? $7. Like, I think Trump voters thought Trump was going to win. Dude, it's so funny now because I feel like MAGA voters are like, you know what? This election wasn't rigged. It was actually a really well-run election. One of the best run. You know what? Shout out to the election officials. It was run so phenomenally. Such a phenomenal election. Couldn't run it better. You could not run a better election. Not a single vote was rigged. Maybe that's one positive. Is that now there will be less people who don't trust the election process, the electoral process. 93% chance Trump just won a state. What did he win? Wait, what did he just win? Hold up. 88% of votes reported in Pennsylvania. 56% in Michigan. 81% in Wisconsin. They have his floor up to 257 electoral votes. What do they have him winning to be at 257? I assume Georgia and Maine. That's probably it, right? I think he is all but one, Georgia and Maine. He should win Alaska too, right? Maine split, I think. He's still at 230. Yeah, I think the floor is based off expectation of swing states. Because with 95% of the vote in, he is leading in Georgia by 3%. So unless they get the 10 votes that I threw in for Kamala Harris along with me and my homies, I think he might win that one. This is fucking bullshit! I voted 10 times for her and she still lost. Sorry. Why only 10? I had shit going on later on. You know what I mean? Don't be fooled by the red mirage. Is the red mirage cope? I feel like this is cope. I feel like this is cope, man. We should make a Trump golden throne, keep him barely alive for all eternity, and make super soldiers from his line for like 40,000 years or something. What in the Warhammer? Is that what Warhammer's about? I deadass thought that was a Dune reference. Canada flipped. Boosting the amount for this important question you dodged. Brett Kavanaugh lied under oath on TV about what boofing is, and they still let him onto the Supreme Court. What are your thoughts? I think it makes him a pussy and a coward, and I think to repent, he should have to boof a full Corona beer on live television, broadcast preferably in the halftime show of the Super Bowl. Otherwise, I think he should be probably imprisoned. Hi, is this to vote for the next Mogul Mail special guest, or why so much hype on voting? I'm new. Yeah, we are voting for the next member of actually unpaid intern. And right now, Donald Trump is winning by a bit. Kamala Harris has a chance of winning still, though. I'm generally a man of the thought process that a good social net and better education for all leads to a more prosperous country. And I usually look to different countries where I have family live, like Sweden. I have a lot of family in Sweden. And they pay a very high tax rate. But that affords them to send a lot of their population to college for almost free. And I think makes it a better place in the world to live. And they also have better health care. And I understand doing that usually results in me spending more money on taxes, but I don't mind. So I generally align myself with the candidate who's going to do that. I'm not totally sold on the let's drop all taxes idea and everyone else will prosper idea. What'd you think about RFK? This is going to sound really superficial, and I apologize. I really had a hard time listening to him talk about his policies. That's it. I'm sorry. It's not a nice thing to say. I understand that. I'm just not lying. I'm saying it how I felt it. It's superficial, I know. I know! He does look crazy shirtless, though. Damn. Georgia has been called. And with Georgia being called, if you add in Alaska plus the electoral vote that is going to come from Maine and Nebraska, that puts Donald Trump at what? 251 electoral votes, meaning if he wins Pennsylvania, this election's over. If he wins both Wisconsin and Michigan, if he wins any two of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Arizona, it's over. He only needs Pennsylvania or any two of those three. This is epic rap battles of history's fault. Well, I guess this once and for all shows that what matters in epic rap battle of history is not being the second verse, but being on the right side of the thumbnail. If you look at the thumbnail for every epic rap battle of history that features presidents, the person on the left wins the presidency. Obama versus Mitt Romney. Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton. Joe Biden versus Donald Trump, and most recently Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris. They determined the presidency. 2028, make sure you take a look who's on the left. They're going to win. Longtime Fruit YouTube Frog here. What policies are you worried about if Trump wins? I'm not. I don't really view my political or politics by what I don't want or who I don't like, but what I do want and what I do like. You know what I mean? The only thing I know of Trump is tariffs. I know about Project 25, which seems dumb as hell. But what I care about much more is not having a stacked Supreme Court for Republicans. Because I think that ends up with like 50 years of irreversible change. Like I think a lot of people are just no Trump. You know what I mean? Which I understand why. But like I'm of the opinion that there should be universal health care, that global warming isn't fake, and we should probably address it maybe sooner rather than later. And that abortion should be allowed, like for women's reproductive rights. And I think those are enough to inform my vote. I think her canceling her speech means there is no universe Kamala Harris wins tonight. Do you get what I mean? There's zero universe she wins tonight. It's like Hillary all over. How did Hillary lose? Like by electoral votes. It would be worse than Hillary. Hillary actually won Nevada. But it would basically be the same thing except for Nevada, and there's also a change in electoral votes from 2024 to 2016 to now. It would be a worse loss than Hillary Clinton. And that was a bad loss. The good news, if Kamala wins, is that she'll get a New York Times bestseller for sure. Here's the thing. Okay, maybe this is fucking stupid, but I just feel like, I don't know, it's a cold take. A democratic process where you have two candidates that both people feel like kind of shit and you can't even have a third option is bad. And what we should do instead is decide everything via parkour. Imagine a civilization where parkour determines your rank in society, and he who is best at parkour gets to make all of the decisions. We rewrite our Constitution in parkour. Do you think Trump would go for the steak or the chicken? Steak is for pussies. All right, focus. You can gamble in Robinhood? Yeah. Which, why? I don't know why they've entered the gambling. I mean, maybe money. The answer is money. Yeah, they have an event contract to vote on the election. And you basically trade and it pays out the odds. Here's the crazy thing. The last day to trade on the election is January. Is this a joke? On Robinhood, the last day to trade for the election is January 5th. And then you get paid out January 8th. Why are you able to trade up until January 5th? When my insurrection is planned for the 6th. It's fucked up. Okay, wait, focus. Quite frankly, there's a lot of parkour noobs. I walked in there and I said, wow, there's a lot of noobs. No, I can't do Trump, man. Here, okay, can I tell you it's not the worst part of Trump being elected. One of the worst parts of Trump being elected is that we're going to have 4 more years of Trump impressions. I was sick of them in the Republican primaries. That was 8 years ago. We got 4 more. Fuck. Wait, it's actually almost the same date. The day league finishes its season is almost the same day Trump goes into office. We got to hit it with Biden. Riding with Biden, baby. I will hit platinum riding with Biden.
This is a chance to move forward, Rick. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that one thing that can happen here, and it happened
Do you think Trump or Kamala would pick the steak? I don't think either would pick the steak, to be honest. Any Dem would have won if they were actually Democratic instead of a blue Republican. I don't agree. I think the most important thing for a Democrat is the ability to make people want to vote for them. Because the more people vote, the more likely a Democrat wins. So I honestly think what is the most important thing in a Democratic candidate is rizz. If a Democratic candidate has a lot of rizz, then they'll have a lot of fans and people will vote for them. I don't even think their policy even matters. Dude, Trump's going to win every fucking swing state. Are you saying Trump has rizz? Yeah, undeniably. Yeah, of course. That's like his only, that's his main thing. Have you read a Trump transcript? They're crazy. But when he says them with rizz. Do you think Peanut the Squirrel's death had an impact? No. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit, right? Peanut the Squirrel was killed by a cop. I don't know if you've been tuned in to the liberal agenda, but it's not exactly pro-cop. I don't know if you guys know. We're not fucking. All right? I know most of this is your guys' fault. We got about 60,000 people in here who are not fucking. But you need this to be at 2.1. We are not fucking enough. Do you know what happens when you're not fucking enough? You need immigration. Our numbers have dropped pretty tough. We haven't been at 2.1 for almost 20 years now. Yeah, they called it. NBC called Pennsylvania, so 266 electoral votes for Trump. They have yet to include Alaska, which would be another 3 electoral votes, and Maine 2. All right, folks. The election is officially over. Donald J. Trump has won, making him the second ever multi-numbered president. Who's the other guy who had it, chat? From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee. Grover Cleveland. Across the plains. Is this copywritten? No, I think it's just American.